In 1889, a struggling artist checked into an asylum in Saint-Rémy, carrying little more than a stack of unfinished canvases and a mind unraveled by rejection. He had sold only one painting in his entire life. Critics called his work erratic, unrefined, even delusional. And yet within those walls, he painted Starry Night. Vincent van Gogh's hand was uncertain, but his spirit defied hesitation. He painted not because the world believed in him, but because in his quiet defiance, he had just enough confidence to keep going. Confidence alone may not guarantee success, but it's certainly crucial in taking those initial steps towards your goals. Once you begin, confidence helps you navigate the challenges and uncertainties that inevitably arise. However, hesitation or fear of outcomes can significantly diminish your chances of achieving anything meaningful. Interestingly, you might have noticed that sometimes individuals with minimal skills or limited knowledge appear more confident than those who have genuinely mastered their craft. This paradox occurs because skilled individuals often unintentionally develop certain destructive habits as they deeply focus on perfecting their expertise. These habits subtly yet steadily erode their confidence, leaving them unsure of their true potential. In this video, we'll explore 5 common but harmful habits that quietly sabotage your self-esteem. In an age of endless scrolling and filtered perfection, comparing oneself to others has quietly become a normalized behavior. Yet its impact on confidence is anything but harmless. Social media platforms, professional networks, even casual conversations can become silent battlegrounds for self-worth. The brain, hardwired to seek patterns and assess threats, misfires in this digital era, interpreting someone else's success as a reflection of one's own inadequacy. What begins as admiration can quickly spiral into self-doubt and paralysis. Early in his career, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, now a global icon, found himself tormented by comparison. Surrounded by seasoned wrestlers with larger legacies and actors with formal training, he questioned whether he truly belonged. The magnitude of others' success cast a shadow over his progress, draining his confidence. But his breakthrough didn't come from outmuscling the competition. It came from stepping out of their lane and committing to his own. He redirected his energy inward, focusing on discipline, consistency, and self-definition. As he famously stated, "Success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Consistent hard work leads to success. Greatness will come." This mindset shift is powerful. Comparison demands external validation, but confidence is built through internal alignment. When individuals reframe progress as personal growth, not as a scoreboard, confidence begins to rebuild. Every small win becomes fuel. What once felt like falling behind starts to feel like building forward. To escape the trap of comparison, the key isn't isolation, it's re-centering. Everyone moves at their own pace, with their own challenges, privileges, and setbacks. The goal isn't to beat someone else's timeline, but to honor your own. In a world obsessed with visibility, sometimes the most courageous act is choosing silence, focus, and patience, and letting your confidence grow at its own rhythm. Confidence doesn't just crumble from what others say, it erodes most quietly from what the mind whispers within. The inner critic, often disguised as reason or humility, speaks with a familiar voice. It questions worthiness, downplays achievements, and magnifies missteps. Over time, these internal judgments form a loop that becomes self-fulfilling. I'm not enough. I always fail. I don't deserve this. The more those words are repeated, the more they shape reality. Oprah Winfrey, one of the most influential figures in media history, was no stranger to this inner war. Long before the accolades and billion-dollar empire, she battled crushing self-doubt. Her childhood, marked by poverty and trauma, planted seeds of insecurity that followed her into early broadcasting. Despite her talents, she felt like an imposter, unworthy of the spotlight, unfit for success. But what turned the tide wasn't external validation. It was an intentional shift in language. She began to challenge her inner dialogue, replacing doubt with belief. "You become what you believe," she declared, not as a slogan, but as a truth she had lived through. Her career became a testament to that transformation. The human mind is always listening. Repeated thoughts become patterns. Patterns become identity. To reclaim confidence, the narrative must be rewritten. It's not about blind positivity. It's about conscious redirection. Doubt may knock, but belief can answer. And with each reframed thought, the foundation of inner strength gets stronger. Failure has been miscast as a villain, when in truth, it is often the unseen mentor behind every confident person. Yet for many, the fear of failing builds invisible walls that prevent risk, suppress initiative, and keep potential locked away. The tragedy isn't in falling short, it's in never starting. Few figures illustrate this more powerfully than Thomas Edison. Revered today as a genius inventor, Edison endured over 1,000 failed attempts before finally creating a working light bulb. Lesser minds might have surrendered to ridicule or despair, but Edison saw something others missed: that failure, properly interpreted, is data. "I have not failed," he famously said. "I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His resilience didn't just birth a breakthrough, it set a blueprint for persistence. Failure is inevitable for those who pursue anything meaningful. But fear of failure? That's optional. It fades when individuals shift their perspective. From perfection to progress, from judgment to curiosity. Confidence grows not from avoiding failure, but from embracing it as part of the curriculum of greatness. The need for approval is deeply human, but when self-worth depends on the applause of others, confidence becomes fragile. It fluctuates with opinions, trends, and likes. In this state, identity becomes a performance, and peace becomes a pursuit that never ends. Steve Jobs built some of the most disruptive products of our time, not because he chased acceptance, but because he trusted his own instincts more than the opinions around him. He was misunderstood, even mocked. But he pressed forward, not with arrogance, but with clarity. His confidence was anchored internally. He knew what he believed in, and that internal compass became his guide in moments when the world didn't yet see what he saw. "Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice," he warned, because he knew the cost of living someone else's version of success. Confidence drawn from external validation is fragile. It cracks under pressure and disappears with disapproval. But confidence rooted in values, vision, and self-understanding becomes durable. It may not be loud, but it's unshakable. Procrastination feels harmless at first, just a delay, just a pause. But over time, it's not just tasks that get deferred. It's dreams, it's momentum. Each act of postponement sends a subtle message to the mind. This isn't urgent. You're not ready. Maybe you never will be. That message seeps into identity. Eventually, people stop seeing themselves as capable and start seeing themselves as avoiders. One striking example is the story of Edgar Allan Poe. A literary genius, Poe struggled deeply with procrastination, especially when it came to finishing major projects. His habit of delaying submissions and pushing deadlines led to lost opportunities, strained relationships with publishers, and financial instability. While few face Poe's demons, many recognize the quiet dread of delay, the internal guilt, the lost opportunity, the dent in self-trust. That's the hidden cost of procrastination. Not just what doesn't get done, but how it changes the way we see ourselves. Letters and journal entries from Poe reveal his internal conflict. He admired discipline in others, but felt shackled by his inability to act decisively. This inconsistency in following through became a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more he delayed, the more he doubted himself. And the more he doubted, the less he acted. Procrastination isn't just a time management issue, it's a trust issue. When action is repeatedly delayed, the brain learns that intention doesn't lead to execution. Confidence, which depends on self-trust, slowly dissolves. Reversing this begins not with grand gestures, but with small wins. Choosing to begin, even imperfectly, is how self-respect is rebuilt. Because every time action replaces avoidance, a little piece of confidence returns. Confidence isn't something bestowed, it's something built. Not in moments of spotlight, but in quiet, consistent choices made every day. These 5 destructive habits: comparison, negative self-talk, fear of failure, seeking external validation, and procrastination, are not flaws in character. They are byproducts of a noisy, fast-paced world that rewards appearance over substance, reaction over reflection. But habits can be unlearned. Patterns can be rewritten. And confidence, no matter how fractured, can be rebuilt. Not through perfection, but through awareness and intention. The key lies in turning inward, becoming the kind of person who chooses growth over fear, progress over paralysis, and truth over approval. Because at the end of the day, confidence doesn't come from knowing everything will go right. It comes from knowing that whatever happens, you'll keep showing up